The mountains had a way of swallowing sound. Wind moved slowly across the ridges, brushing over dry grass and scattered rock. The sky stretched wide, painted in fading gold and deepening blue. Out on that endless trail rode a man alone, Samuel Cole. He wasn't chasing anything. He wasn't running either. He was just moving. His horse climbed a narrow mountain path, hooves striking stone in a steady rhythm. Below him, valleys rolled out like quiet oceans. Rivers cut silver lines through the land. Samuel paused at the top of a ridge. He looked out, not searching, just taking it in. Some places had a way of making a man stop, not because he had to, but because he wanted to remember. He took a slow breath, then nudged his horse forward again. Because no matter how beautiful a place was, Samuel never stayed long. By late afternoon, a town came into view. Small, quiet, tucked between open land and distant hills. Wooden buildings lined a dusty street. A few townsfolk moved about, calm, unhurried. Too calm, almost. Samuel rode in without a word. He tied his horse outside a modest hotel and stepped inside. The smell hit him first. Fresh food, warm, real, honest. It had been a long time. A middle-aged woman stood behind the counter, strong eyes, kind face. She looked him over, then gave a small nod. "What can I get you, traveler?" Samuel pulled out a chair and sat down slowly. "Something hot," he said, "and plenty of it." She didn't ask questions. Didn't need to. Moments later, a plate was set in front of him, steaming, generous, perfect. Samuel took a bite and paused. For a second, the world went quiet. He ate slowly at first, then faster, like a man remembering what food was supposed to taste like. When he finished, he leaned back slightly. A faint smile touched his face. "Thank you, ma'am," he said. She gave him a soft nod. "You're welcome." That evening, Samuel walked into the saloon. The place was alive, but not wild. A piano played softly in the corner. Glasses clinked. Voices stayed low. It wasn't chaos. It was peace. Samuel sat at the bar. "Whiskey," he said. The bartender poured without hesitation. Samuel took a sip, let it settle. He watched the room. People talking, laughing quietly, living simple lives. No tension, no fear. It felt different. For the first time in a long while, Samuel didn't feel like moving. The next few days passed easy. Samuel walked the town, rode out beyond it. He saw ranches stretching across open land, cattle grazing under wide skies, smoke rising from distant homes. It was the kind of life a man could build something in, something steady, something real. He imagined it, a ranch of his own, a quiet morning, a reason to stop riding. For a moment, it felt possible, but deep down, Samuel knew something. Men like him didn't settle, not for long. One afternoon, Samuel sat in the hotel again, finishing a meal. The door opened. A young man stepped in, early 20s maybe. He wore a cowboy hat, but something about him didn't fit. Too tense, too uncertain. He looked around the room, then his eyes landed on Samuel and didn't move. After a moment, he walked over, sat down across from him. Samuel didn't look up right away, but he noticed. "You gonna keep staring or say what you came to say?" The young man swallowed. Are you Samuel Cole?" Samuel finally looked at him. "That depends. Who's asking?" The young man hesitated. "My name's William." A pause. "Margaret Ellis is my sister." Samuel froze. Just for a second, but it was enough. What happened?" Samuel asked quietly. William leaned forward. "You remember Victor Kane?" Samuel's expression hardened. "Yeah." "You killed him." Samuel didn't flinch. It was a fair fight. William nodded quickly. "I know, my sister told me." He took a breath. "But Victor had a brother." A pause. "Daniel Kane." Samuel said nothing. "He's back," William continued, "and he didn't come alone. Outlaws, hired guns. They've been threatening us, stealing cattle, pushing us out." William's voice cracked slightly. "Then they took her." Silence. "They took Margaret," he said again. "Locked her up at another ranch." Samuel's jaw tightened. "He said he won't let her go until you show up." Another pause. "He wants you dead." William looked him straight in the eye. "I've been looking for you, town to town." A beat. "And I finally found you." Samuel stood up slowly. No hesitation now, no doubt. "Get your horse," he said. William blinked. "We're riding." They rode hard. Day turned to night. Night turned back to day. Dust trailed behind them like ghosts. By the time they reached Red Willow Creek, the air felt different, tense, waiting. The ranch stood quiet. Cowboys gathered quickly. "They took her east, Old Miller Place," one of them said. Samuel nodded once. That was all he needed. That night, Samuel stood with the men. "We go in quiet," he said. "No mistakes, no noise." The others nodded. They trusted him, because they had before. The next evening they moved. Samuel left the others outside. He went in alone. The ranch was dark, quiet, too quiet. He moved like a shadow, careful, silent, until he found her. Margaret sat tied to a chair, tired but strong. She looked up and saw him. Her eyes filled. "I knew you'd come," she whispered. Samuel stepped closer. "I always do." He cut the ropes, helped her to the feet. "Can you walk?" She nodded. "Let's go." They almost made it. Almost. A noise, a shout, then gunfire. The night exploded. Samuel pulled Margaret behind cover. Shots fired back and forth. The others joined in. Chaos. But Samuel didn't stay. He moved fast, protected Margaret, got her out. They rode hard and didn't stop. By the time Daniel Kane returned, she was gone. He stood in the empty room, breathing slow, then smiled. He came back. Back at the ranch, they prepared, weapons cleaned, positions set. Everyone knew what was coming. So did Samuel. But between it all, there were quiet moments. Moments with Margaret. "You could stay," she said one evening. Samuel looked out across the land. "Maybe," he said. But even as he said it, he wasn't sure. It came at dawn. Gunfire tore through the air. Daniel Kane and his men stormed the ranch. The fight was brutal, loud, fast, relentless. Men fell, others ran, but the ranch held. Through the chaos, Daniel and Samuel faced each other. "You killed my brother," Daniel shouted. Samuel stood firm. "It was a fair fight." "That's not what I heard," Daniel fired back. "I heard you shot him unarmed." "That's a lie," Samuel said. Margaret stepped forward. "I was there. Victor had a gun. He chose the fight." Daniel hesitated, just for a moment. That moment was enough. Samuel drew, fired. Daniel's gun flew from his hand. Silence fell. Daniel stared at him, breathing hard, realization creeping in. "You didn't lie," he said. Samuel didn't answer, didn't need to. Daniel stepped back, slowly, then turned and walked away. The fight was over. The ranch came back to life. Work resumed. People smiled again. Peace returned. But Samuel, he stood at the edge of it all, looking out, like he always did. Margaret walked up beside him. "Will you stay?" she asked softly. Samuel didn't answer right away. Then, "I don't know how." He rode out that evening, same as before, alone. The land stretched wide ahead of him, and somewhere out there, another road waited, because the West never lets a man like Samuel Cole stay in one place for long.